Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zane here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. If you have not seen yesterday's episode, definitely check that out, since we are finally back after a short break. Gonna finish off this week, of course, with the Rain team before moving on to a new team next week, as we're just gonna jump onto the ladder. Currently with a rating of 1796. As always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like on the video. It just takes a quick second, and I'd really appreciate it. Yesterday's episode was really interesting, to say the least. I think my opponents had some pretty cool Pokemon, especially that Mega Glalie in the first game from James, and it's always cool to see those kind of, unique Pokemon and strategies being used. I'd say on Road to Ranked, for the time that I've done it, I've really used, my idea of Road to Ranked is to feature the strongest teams and Pokemon possible, while giving you guys a good sense of what the entire VGC metagame can look like, though I am looking on to branch to newer Pokemon and strategies very soon. So we find Michael from Canada with a rating of 1731 for our first opponent of the day. Michael here is going to have a team of Togekiss, Excadrill, Heatran, Salamence, Breloom, and Mamoswine. So the Togekiss, Mamoswine, Heatran combo looks really familiar to Randy Qua's team back in VGC 2013. He did use those three, and that year he popularized the Togekiss Excadrill combination. Excadrill having Mold Breaker, of course, and it probably has Mold Breaker on this team as well. So that's a really interesting team. It does look kind of weak to Rain, but my one fear is the Dragon Dance with the Salamence. For example, if I lead Polyludi, he goes with Togekiss, Salamence, he can Dragon Dance up, and then he can outspeed my Pokemon even after, even with the Rain boost and the Choice Scarf boost. So that's the scariest thing, and I feel like the Rain will deter him away from bringing Heatran or Excadrill. Like, I think Togekiss Breloom or Togekiss Salamence makes the most sense here. And in anticipation of that, I'm actually going to go straight for Thundurus as a lead. I think Thundurus is really good against the majority of my opponent's team. Let's see. Yep, I'm actually going to go straight for Thundurus Metagross. Like, that gives me answers against everything except for Excadrill, Heatran, but should my opponent bring that, I can just switch out. So I think I'm still going to have Politoed in the back, because with the Scarf, I can outspeed and hit actually all of this team for super effective, which is pretty good. Ludicolo is actually pretty tempting as the last one here. Deciding between it and Hydreigon, though, Ludicolo is honestly better. It also can hit my opponent's entire team for super effective damage. So I'm leading Thundurus Metagross in anticipation of him trying to counter my Rain leads, and Rain to close things up should be good. I haven't used this combination very often in Road to Rank with this Rain team. Typically it's just no Rain at all or Rain in the front. So let's see how this plays out. So I'm going to go with my bulky Thundurus, and yep, Togekiss Breloom coming out. That's really good for me here. Perfect. Let's see. Ideally, I'm going to set up a sub with Metagross. I just wonder what he's going to do with the Togekiss. I think the best play for him here is to follow me and Spore Thundurus, maybe? So I could actually switch out into Ludicolo. No, I mean, that's... Let's see. In doing that, though, I can just Iron Head knock out the Togekiss, so maybe he won't want to do that. Or maybe he'll follow me and Spore the Metagross. Let's see. You know what? I'm just going to go for an HP Ice to break its Sash. And the sub is a better play here, though. Yeah, I'll Tom Breloom, Mega Evolve, and sub. This way it ensures that I get a substitute up. He's, in my opinion, he's either going to go for the Follow Me Spore play onto Thundurus, or the Protect Tailwind play. One of those two. But if he Spores Metagross, obviously that works out in my favor, as a fly flies by over here. Oh wow, okay, so he doesn't follow me, so I do get the Taunt-Off for free, and the sub up for free. That's even better than I anticipated. Okay, that blocks the Spore. He does get the Tailwind up, but the Spore onto Breloom was huge. That prevents him from really being able to do very much there. So Protect would have been really good, but not the case, and I'm going to be able to get a free sub up, which is obviously important. Now I've put myself in a very good position, obviously, but I'm going to want to capitalize on this turn. It's very important. Iron Head onto Togekiss is a pretty safe play. Breloom can't do much. You can Mach Punch Metagross, but otherwise nothing else. I think I'm going to double up on the Kiss here. Because I think he's probably going to want to switch that out. I mean, the worst case here if he protects and Breloom switches into something that has a good matchup, namely Heatran, but getting the substitute up here with Metagross was really important, and that's why I went for it turn 1. You know, there was little reason to protect there. It's not like Breloom and Togekiss really threaten it, and the substitute just prevented me from getting Sport as well in case he went for the Follow Me Spore play. Breloom's going to switch out, so if Togekiss doesn't protect here, it's definitely getting knocked out, as Ellie version 2 comes out. Going to be that Mamoswine. Togekiss actually switches out as well, so we're going to see all 4 of my opponent's Pokemon here. And it is Salamence, so that Salamence is going to go down, which is obviously really good for me. And I'd rather have the Salamence gone just because I've got Politoed and Ludicolo in the back. And Salamence was probably the biggest threat to my team. I'm assuming Ironhead and Thunderbolt can knock it out here, but maybe, actually, yeah, it should be enough. So, doubled on that slot, trying to pick up a KO, and does pick up the knockout. Great. So, my opponent just burned a turn of Tailwind up, and basically it played out, that first turn helped me out so much. And I wasn't anticipating him just attacking with both Pokemon, but obviously I'm not going to complain. Now, he does get in Breloom for free, and this is still a pretty scary position to be in. Though, he's really got to make one of 2 moves. Like, I mean, he's probably going to use an Ice-type attack onto the Thundurus, I'd assume. So I'm just going to Thunder Wave the Breloom, and Iron Head the Mamoswine, yeah. Oh, he's going to go for the Mach Punch. Yep, knock out that sub. I don't think he's going to Earthquake, though. I mean, if he Earthquakes, he's going to damage his own Breloom, and if that's the case, that's fine. I get a free switch into Politoed. And that Breloom, of course, is slowed down now, which is important because I can bring in Politoed or Ludicolo and outspeed it, even with Tailwind up. He actually does go for the Earthquake play, so good play by my opponent, deciding it's worth damaging the Breloom. And it does pick up the KO onto Metagross, as it does around 50% to himself, which is kind of absurd. It's Life Orb, though, which makes sense. Okay, that's good knowledge. Let's see. Given that it's Life Orbed, I've got one more turn of Tailwind. I mean, that was a really good play by my opponent. I wish I read into that a bit better, since Metagross was the best Pokemon for this matchup, but hey, it is what it is. I'm leaning towards bringing in the Ludicolo right now. But he can't knock out Politoed. You know what? I'm actually going to bring in Poly, yeah. This game is still far from over, though. Still a long way to go. Let's see. Presumably, he's going to use an Ice-type attack on Thundurus. Like an Icicle Crash or an Icicle Spear. So I could switch out into Ludicolo to take that. No other question is, does Breloom protect here? I'm actually pretty mad at myself for that last turn. Like, Metagross had the game won for me, and I just kind of messed up there. So, not pleased. Should have protected, but lesson learned there. Let's see. Does Thundurus want to stay in? I can double up with an Ice-type attack onto the Breloom to knock it out. But if he uses an Ice-type attack onto Thundurus, that would be really problematic. I could also switch out into Ludicolo, which is what I'm leaning towards right now, and go for the Surf. Though I think Ice Beam onto Breloom is better. The main issue is if I Ice Beam and I lock myself into Ice Beam and then he can follow me away. You know what? I'm going to go for the Surf, yeah. He's probably not going to protect with the Mamoswine here. If he Bullet Seeds my Politoed, that's fine. I have Thundurus to deal with Breloom and Togekiss. So right now, I'm trying to win the game by knocking out Mamoswine. Okay, he goes for the Icicle Crash, as anticipated. Probably doing around 50 to 70% to Liludi. Actually, probably on the higher end there. Wow. That was even more damage than I anticipated. That's actually really not good for me. As I knock myself out. Oh, this is going to be an interesting finish to the game. Let's see. He's probably going to go for the Bullet Seed onto Politoed. The thing is, Togekiss can still win the match against a Breloom and a Mamoswine, but I should have went for this. Oh, but he gets the Paralysis. Though that makes this match even more funny because now I have to Surf myself, but that was a bad play on my end. I think Surf, or just Ice Beam into Breloom would have been a bit better. I should have anticipated more damage onto Ludicolo there. So, let's see. Yeah, I mean, here I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt onto Togekiss and the Surf. Like, and my opponent's actually just going to forfeit after the Paralysis, so unfortunate finish of the game there. It would have been actually really close because he probably would have went for the follow me Spore play with Breloom, so it would have come down to whether I could have waken up quickly enough, because I would have gotten a Thunderbolt off on Togekiss, which would have been a 2-hit KO. So I would have had to manage to attack through, you know, if he got a 3-turn sleep, he probably could have won, but he had to attack through paralysis and whatnot as well. It would have actually been a very interesting 2-on-1 matchup there, just because Thundurus matches up really, really well against Togekiss and Breloom, but paralysis making sure I didn't even have to do that. But pretty careless playing on my end in the end there, and I feel a bit bad just because I should have played better and conserved the Mega Metagross and stalled out a turn of Tailwind slightly better. But lesson learned, as we're going to jump back onto the ladder, now with a rating of over 1800 once again. That's the thing with this Rain team, you know, you can easily get locked into bad decisions sometimes, so, you know, so I should really think through my turns a bit more carefully, and that's the case with any team, really. And for how good that matchup was and how good the knockout onto Salamence with, my opponent was able to bring it back, as we find a 1841 rated player from Japan. This is a pretty scary looking team. We've got Gengar, Politoed, Ludicolo, Scrafty, Togekiss, and Kangaskhan. Possibly Parastrap here with Kangaskhan, Gengar, Scrafty, and Poly, though, I don't know. It's also interesting because we do have that Rain Mirror here. Question is, what's the Mega Evolution? You know, normally you expect Kangaskhan to be Mega Evolution, Gengar to be normal, but I don't know if you guys have seen that popular Japanese Parastrap team use this normal Kangaskhan and Mega Gengar, so that's certainly a possibility, though doesn't look like it as much in this matchup. Scrafty, probably one of the biggest issues my team has to deal with here. I don't have a great way to knock it out. Fairy types normally help a lot. Obviously, I do not have a Fairy type. Thundurus is pretty good in this matchup as well, though. I like Terrakion Thundurus in general. Yeah, I like that a lot. With Metagross in the back for sure, and I'm thinking Ludicolo is my last one. Yeah, I'm going to lock in, and I feel pretty confident with those Pokemon. Honestly, I think the matchup is in my opponent's favor, but I'll see what I can do here. In general, like, Thundurus Terrakion gives me any answers to anything my opponent leads with. If he leads with Politoed Ludicolo, I can just Thunder Wave and paralyze that Ludicolo to slow it down. If he leads with anything else, basically, I'll stop it immediately. He's gonna go with Gengar and Togekiss, and this is ideal. Like, one of the best matchups, actually, that I could have asked for. So, obviously, I put on huge amounts of offensive pressure right from the beginning here. Now the question is, I'm definitely Rock Sliding with Terrakion. It's who do I Thunderbolt here? Thunderbolting Togekiss can stop a Tailwind. You can also just knock it out immediately. Gengar's kind of the bigger threat though, and often doesn't carry Protect though, so I'm gonna go for the T-Bolt Rock Slide onto Gengar. He's gonna switch out Togekiss, which is even better, unless he decides to Protect here with Gengar, which would be somewhat problematic. Scrafty's gonna come in though, a great switching by my opponent there, so intimidating my Terrakion is obviously not good. Let's see what Gengar goes for. Oh, it is Mega Gengar though, wow. Okay, so I'm wondering if Kangaskhan was Mega as well. That makes this match a bit more difficult, and he does go for the Protect, so that was, for how good my first turn looked, that was a very, very nicely played turn by my opponent there. Now, he doesn't have the crazy, like, Encore Disable shenanigans. Of course, he can still disable, but not as bad, though extra Thunderbolt damage onto Scrafty would have been really nice there. So, very nicely played by my opponent to get out of a really bad position right from the start. I'm going to Thunder Wave the Gengar and go for a Quick Guard in anticipation of a Fake Out onto Thundurus. That way I can slow the Gengar down and outspeed it these consequent turns, and a slow Gengar means Metagross can beat it as well. He does go for the Fake Out onto Thundurus as anticipated, so that plays out perfectly. So paralyzing Gengar is great. It also means Rock Slides can potentially flinch, which is obviously very good. And he's actually fully paralyzed, so Thunder Wave really helping us out today in this game, or in this episode. So I did anticipate the move correctly there. Obviously, I can't switch out right now, which is the biggest problem. I don't want to close combat because that would bring my defenses down. So I think I'm going to... I mean, I could Thunder Wave the Scrafty as well here, or could just Thunderbolt for damage. Let's see, with Togekiss in the back, Thundurus is so important in this match. I think I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt onto Scrafty. You know what, I'm actually going to double onto it. I want to free switch into the Metagross. He's going to switch it out, so whatever's coming in is going to take a close combat and a Thunderbolt. Nothing on his team can take that well. It's going to be Togekiss, but that doesn't take it very well. Good switch by him there to reset the Fake Out, I guess, as Thunderbolt's probably not going to knock it out here either. As that was a critical hit, so Togekiss obviously resisting it very well. And I do wish I Rock Slided there, would have been a bit better, but, you know, I just wanted to get some damage off, and that's a lot of nice damage. I'm not going to complain there. But let's see what this Gengar goes for. Maybe a Trick Room? No, but another Paralysis, though. You know, I don't mind him attacking. Like, a Shadow Ball to Terrakion to knock it out, that's fine with me, but I'm getting pretty lucky here. So I'm going to Thunderbolt the Togekiss this time and go for a Rock Slide. I mean, it's not helping that he's getting these paralysis off, so that's why I thought the quick guard Thunder Wave play was so important. He's going to switch Togekiss out once again, probably into Scrafty. I'm fine with that, because right now I'm just getting a lot of free damage, and with these switch outs, he's just losing momentum on and on. I do feel bad about these paralysis, though. Like, I only Thunder Wave for means of speed control, but obviously the paralysis chance is always great. Rock Slide's going to miss, I believe, the Scrafty, but gonna at least hit Gengar, but use Intimidate's really helping my opponent out here. Thunderbolt still does a very good amount of damage here, and I flinched my opponent's Gengar, just not catching any breaks there, so apologies to him. Like, I wouldn't have minded a KO at any point, but maybe he has got a surprise move that he's been trying to use and hasn't gotten the chance to, so that's what I feel most bad about. But regardless, you know, that's Pokemon, and that's the advantage of using Thunder Wave and Rock Slide, obviously. So, let's see, I can Quick Guard once again, though I don't really want to this time around. Gengar's not a threat, so I'm going to just try to get some more damage off onto the Scrafty with a Close Combat Thunderbolt. But he goes for the Detect. I walked right into that. Well played. So, my opponent can still easily bring this back even after this first couple of turns. He's actually just going to go straight for the Shadow Ball into Terrakion. It doesn't even knock me out. Wow. Let's see. Yeah, at this point, I want this Thundurus to stay in, so I'm going to go for the Rock Slide Thunderbolt. If he knocks Terrakion out, that's fine. I guess worst case here is if he... Okay, yeah, he's going to switch Scrafty out, though. Perfect by me. Is that Togekiss once again? Yeah, so it's going to take a Rock Slide. Yep, perfect. So that turn played out ideally. And, looks like I crit the Rock Slide there as well, so not having any breaks on my opponent's end here. It's a really hacksy game. I really hate featuring games with obscene amounts of luck, but... I mean, he had no answer to Thundurus Terrakion if he didn't bring Polyludi, and even if he brought Polyludi, like, Thundurus shut him down. Thundurus was the MVP in this matchup, and it's still not over yet, but obviously I'm feeling really good right now. Scrafty's gonna come back in, but at this point, like, it's really difficult for me to lose. But of course, anything can happen, as we saw in that last match, who my opponent almost brought it back. Let's see. I'm just gonna Thunderbolt the Togekiss. And... quite honestly, I'm just going to Quick Guard, yeah. Only way I can see my opponent getting back into this game is with a surprise Tailwind, and he's just going to end up forfeiting because of that luck. So, honestly, I really feel like I could have won that match without any RNG, but, like, obviously when you're using Thunder Wave and Rock Slide, can go in your favor, so it is what it is. So, shorter episode for you guys today. We are going to pick up 2 wins, though not in the greatest of fashions. But, you know, that's Pokemon for you, and at least the team is around 18, 20s, 30s now. But I really do wish I could have seen more from my opponent's team, because I feel like it was a really neat one, especially with Scrafty, Togekiss, and a Mega Gengar. So unfortunately didn't get to feature that as much, but such is such. Anyway, that's it for this episode, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I shall see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.